My goal in making these videos is to make learning math easier, and if I had one tip for those who want to learn math easily, it would be take time to understand the ratio. Most of the numbers that we deal with every day are ratios. Prices and measurements are very frequently ratios. I'm going to have a list here of things that are ratios. The video that you're watching right now is a rectangle. It has length and width. We could talk about it using a measurement of the length and width, or we could talk about it using the aspect ratio, the ratio between the length and width of the rectangle. The nice thing about talking about it using the aspect ratio is that whether you're on a giant TV or a tiny phone, the aspect ratio remains the same. Ratios are frequently scalable like this. Most recipe quantities are ratios. The proportion between the ingredients is very important and needs to stay the same. But if you want to make 4 loaves of bread instead of 2 loaves of bread, you can double each of the amounts, and the proportion remains the same. Most unit conversions are ratios. 2.54 centimeters per 1 inch. The per is a dead giveaway that this is a ratio. When we express this ratio as a fraction, it becomes a unit conversion. We simply multiply inches by the conversion factor to get centimeters. And to make sure that we have the conversion factor the right way up, cancel your units. Other ratios that you've probably seen include pi and rates. Those relationships between different unit types, such as speeds, miles per hour, and pay rates, dollars per hour. When you're working with ratios, one important thing to keep in mind is what two things are the ratios between. We see here a pie chart, and guess what? Percents are another way that we talk about ratios. The pie chart talks about pizza orders. There's orders for pepperoni pizza and orders for cheese pizza. We can talk about this using several different ratios. 1 in 4 orders are for pepperoni, 3 in 4 orders are for cheese, or there's a 3-to-1 cheese to pepperoni order ratio. The top two talk about the ratio being between a part and a whole. That is, part of the orders to all of the orders. The bottom talks about the ratio between two parts. We need to know what representation we're using whenever we use a ratio, and there's a lot of them. And I know this slide can look intimidating, so hang in there. We're not going to go too much further in this video, but this is a foundational video for what else is coming in my series. So, we have two categories: ratios that express part to whole and ratios that compare two parts. For part to whole, we could say 1 in 4 orders are for pepperoni, or 3 in 4 orders are for cheese. Or we could use the percentage representation, or we could use the decimal representation. You'll see all of these as different ways to represent ratios. In comparing two parts, we could say there's a 3-to-1 cheese to pepperoni ratio, or we can flip it around and say there's a 1-to-3 pepperoni to cheese ratio. We could say that there's 3 cheese per pepperoni, or 1/3 of a pepperoni per cheese order. We could say that there's 33.3% as many pepperoni orders as cheese orders, or 300% as many cheese as pepperoni orders. And last, and kind of confusingly, we could say that there's 200% more cheese orders than pepperoni orders. That's a lot of different ways to express the same idea using ratios. And it's important to be able to go from this to this, know the representation that we're using to talk about the situation. In future videos, I'm going to talk about what we can do with ratios. I'm also going to talk about trigonometry and how it's just ratios. I'm absolutely serious. All of these things here are ratios. I'm going to talk about how statistics has a ton of ratios involved and how understanding ratios makes calculus easier. Thank you for bearing with me, and I hope that you'll be able to see ratios throughout the next couple weeks to help you prepare to watch my future videos. Thank you.